The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. It's great to have you with us today. Jamie, Wes Welker has found employment. He has joined the coaching staff of the Washington Commanders.
Yeah, awesome to hear, to see that he'll be joined with Coach Kingsbury.
Yep. He'll be, he's been an offensive assistant with the Houston Texans, and he was also a wide receivers coach for the San Francisco 49ers. In addition to being with the Miami Dolphins, he'll be an analyst for the Washington Commanders. So I'm sure that he can provide some assistance there. And well, you just feel like that's gone from an organization that nobody wanted to be a part of to, I don't know if it's an organization yet, but it's becoming one just because of the success and the turnaround that they've done. Not only on the field, but off the field, new ownership, new head coach, and new assistants like, Coach Kingsbury being the offensive coordinator. So you kind of feel like that they're putting it together there in D.C.
Yeah, obviously the head coach has a lot to do with that, but I also think that having a young superstar quarterback that everybody really thinks is, kind of next level good, I think people want to be around that, especially if you're on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah. So good for Wes Welker, and good for him to maybe find hope it's a gig that can. And I don't know what his ultimate goal is. If his ultimate goal is to be an offensive coordinator, or if he doesn't strike me as a head coach. He strikes me as a guy that's he's very. Just very humble, very low key, and maybe this type of job, and maybe he wants to be an offensive coordinator at some point in time. But anyway, it just doesn't strike me as a guy that has this burning desire to be a head coach. But I could be completely wrong about that.
Yeah, not sure on that one. Seems like every coach wants to move up if at all possible, but you just never know.
Some are better making suggestions than decisions, or at least maybe just being involved with the team and being able to make a difference with a position group, so to speak. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. It's getting about towards NFL draft time. People are positioning, posturing, making their way towards kind of making those things happen as far as the Cowboys and others are concerned, and still kind of wait to see what kind of big moves the Cowboys are going to make.
I'm sorry, that was the best joke you've ever made, Chuck. The big moves the Cowboys are going to make.
I couldn't tell if that was a sneeze or a... No.
That's the funniest thing you've done, man. Okay. That should go in. That should be a stand-up routine.
I don't know that I'd be very good at a stand-up routine. I don't know.
That's pretty funny stuff there, Chuck. Cowboys making a big move.
I
got a better chance of landing on Mars today.
Okay. Wow.
Well, good luck with that.
Good luck with that. The House settlement for the multi-billion-dollar legal settlement to, quote, reshape the business of college sports. I thought we were going to have a settlement yesterday. I thought we were going to have a signing. That's what everybody had kind of indicated, but the judge declined to provide final approval of a deal between the NCAA and attorneys representing past, present, and future Division I athletes. She directed lawyers to address a short list of her remaining concerns within a week. She said this as they wrapped up a 7-hour hearing. Jamie, it just makes your head explode. I think it's a good settlement, but don't quote me.
Gosh. Okay.
I think it's a good settlement, but don't quote me. The NCAA has agreed to pay roughly $2.8 billion in damages to past and current athletes to settle 3 antitrust federal lawsuits that claim the association's rules have limited the athletes' earning potential in various ways. I feel like the NCAA hasn't fought back at all, and they've just kind of rolled over and rolled over and rolled over and rolled over. And one of the things that concerned me, I didn't really go deep into the lawsuit here, but she's concerned about like the future of pinning athletes into this group that really don't have a say in what it is right now, like future athletes. So I don't know. It seems like that this is not going to go away anytime soon. And it feels like
I wouldn't believe so. Yeah.
It feels like it's just going to be an ongoing thing. And I don't know how you ever get to a point where you can say, okay, we have a policy here, or we have a deal here, and you just kind of go back to the deal of, well, maybe it's just better off to be kind of where we are. But the guys from the past, not everything, it's kind of like the oldest child versus the youngest child. Sometimes the oldest child gets more than the youngest child, and sometimes the youngest child benefits more than the oldest child because of the family situation. And you can't go back and then start providing things to the oldest child that the youngest child got because, well, it wasn't as good with him growing up as it was with her growing up.
Well, don't tell that to Jenkins of Villanova, Chris Jenkins, who hit that game-winning shot for Villanova back in 2016, because he's suing the NCAA now, saying that basically that because the NCAA didn't have NIL at that point, he's been limited. His ability to make money was limited, and because they use highlights, and because Villanova got donations after winning a national championship that apparently he won all by himself, that he should be paid for it.
Right.
So, I mean, if the NCAA plays Chris Jenkins, how are they not paying, going back and paying Christian Laettner or Keith Smart or I don't know anybody who's ever played on the national championship team, or I mean, where does it end?
I know it makes it exhausting, and it almost makes your head hurt, and it makes you not want to play anymore, or just follow it anymore, because it's just money.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Sports history today is April 8th, 2025. Here's Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
Gonna start us off in 1963. Detroit Tigers claim a young pitcher named Denny McLain off of waivers from the Chicago White Sox. McLain goes on to win the Cy Young Award in 68, 69, and AL MVP in 68. Way to go, White Sox.
I knew that was coming.
1974. Hammer and Hank Aaron hits number 715 off Al Downing in Atlanta, breaking Babe Ruth's all-time career home run record. 1994. Atlanta Brave Kent Mercker no-hits the Dodgers 6-0. In 2011, John Neely rises his record to 8-0. And Kelby Tomlinson drives in the winning run in the 12th as Texas Tech upsets number 5 Texas A&M 4-3. We won't be talking about what happened in 2019 today.
Oh,
no reason for that.
Okay,
none whatsoever. Happy National Empanada Day.
Are you a fan of the empanada?
I'm not a fan.
It depends on what's inside the empanada. Like if it's
I think
cherry,
that's fair about a lot of things.
Yeah, but if it's cherry, it's good. If it's the pumpkin flavored stuff, I'm out on that. Jamie, empanada, pro con?
Yeah, I'll probably pass.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to C.D. Lamb, who's 26. Malik Collins is 30. And Felix Hernandez is 39. And on this day in 1935, Congress votes to approve the Works Progress Administration, also known as the WPA, a central part of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal. Although its scale was unprecedented, the WPA never managed to serve more than a quarter of the nation's unemployed. Its programs, however, were extremely popular and contributed significantly to Roosevelt's landslide re-election in 1936. And that is This Day in Sports History.
All right. Well, it's very quick, This Day in Sports History. I didn't realize that, if April the 8th of 2019 had gone a little better, it probably would have been a little bit.
We will not be discussing what happened on that day.
More blazed in my.
I said no. We will not be discussing what happened on that day. We do not talk about such things on This Day in Sports History.
We're not going to get there. Okay, we're not going to get there. We'll just stay completely away from it. Okay. 6:48 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that of the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. Jamie, I did something yesterday on our behalf, and I don't know if you submitted anything or not, but the bottom line has horse names for their upcoming horse race for the Kentucky Derby that Clint Scott so eloquently does the play-by-play, and there were I don't know 100 horse names that were submitted over the course, I guess, of the last year. We were each asked to give a couple of names, so I submitted 2 for us, as was asked, and I submitted 1 for me. So for me, I submitted Verbal Yips. Okay, I thought that was somewhat appropriate, Verbal Yips. And then for us, I hope this is okay, I submitted Professor Lent and Truthfully Truths. So what do you think about that?
Okay, those are good. Yeah, I submitted mine as well. I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago. But
okay.
Yeah, Clint does an awesome job with that. So I canceled out all the ones they tried to sneak in that were off color.
Okay.
And did my best to clean it up a little bit.
Right.
And
what one?
I can't remember which ones I pushed through.
Okay.
But,
okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't. We never discussed that. I thought just thought I'd pass that along. But I thought Professor Lent was pretty good, and I'm with you. Some of those were, the innuendo wasn't quite as as deceptive as you'd like it to be. But I thought, Truthfully Truth, I thought that was, pretty, reflective of our fine radio program. I thought Professor Lent also reflected us. And then I thought Verbal Yips reflected me. We've
all been there before.
Yeah, we've all been there. But I thought that I was just trying to, not disparage anyone in particular, but I thought, from my standpoint, that was spot on, so to speak. So much for Nathan Eovaldi being the race, at least last night. Didn't quite go so well for him.
Yeah, I thought about that when I saw his line score. I thought, oh man, the Heinz jinx strikes again.
That's right. Rangers fell to the Cubs at Wrigley Field 7-0. Rangers fall to 8-3 on the season. The line on Mr. Eovaldi last night, 4 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, walked 2 and struck out 4. So his guy that came in on the relief was Gerson Garabito. He did not have a very good night as well. He was. Let's see. His line score last night was 3 1/3, 6 hits, 4 runs, all of them earned, walked 1, and struck out 3. Okay. Bullfighter says I'll see you at 9. Well, I don't know that I'm available at 9, Bullfighter. Maybe closer to 9:30. Okay. Maybe 9:45.
He's coming for a tail whooping.
Yeah, sounds like
Yours,
he's coming.
specifically.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, because
you jinxed Evaldi.
Oh, I got you. He wasn't really coming to see me. That was more.
No, he's definitely coming to see you.
Yeah.
He's not coming to see me or Jamie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's unhappy with you, Chuck.
There's a lot of people that are unhappy with me or disappointed in me or that, fill in the adjective, that's, there's.
And he's going to do something about it. Yes, this is what he's telling you.
This Chuck feels like a sorry about you moment.
Okay. My dad worked for WPA, walked 15 miles to town to go to work, $2.40 a day. Big money back then. 15 miles? He walked 15 miles.
Every day? Man, he must have been in great shape. Yikes.
Over the years, that story might have gotten extended a little bit. I believe the $2.40 a day, but walking 15 miles?
1935? Yeah. When you had a job? Yeah. I fully believe it was 15 miles.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
In 1935?
Yeah.
The height of the Great Depression?
Sure.
Having a job, you did what you had to do to keep it.
No doubt. No question about it.
The generation that would go on to win World War II, yeah, they were tough enough to do it. I'm not going to tell them they weren't.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. It's great to have you with us today on the Morning Drive. We'll have Red Raider Baseball on the air for you today at 2:30. First pitch just after 3 from Albuquerque. What's the weather look like in Albuquerque for today's ball game, Jamie?
It's supposed to be 75 today. So
oh, that's nice.
Should be a beautiful day.
Yeah, that's a great day to play some baseball. Any word on Parker Hutera, or do you expect any word on him in terms of what his availability is like, whether not necessarily for today, but maybe even for the weekend or for the future?
I guess at some point maybe they would say he was, if, and this is a big if, I'm not suggesting this is the case, I have no clue, but if he was shut down for the season, you would think maybe that we would hear about it at that point. Mm-hmm. But we haven't heard anything about that at this point, and so we're hoping that's not the case. And so, at this point, you just you have to just wait and see.
I guess that's kind of.
I don't necessarily think you're going to hear anything.
Okay. So is no news good news then for him?
I would think so, but not necessarily. There's been times before where guys have not pitched for a while, and then 2 weeks later, it comes out that they're expected to be done for the year. So we've seen that happen before.
So in the approach for today's game, I know that the goal is always to win, and that's obvious. But are there some other things that you think that Coach Tadlock would like to do today, whether it's getting some guys some extra work or maybe employing some guys at some different spots or injecting them in the lineup? Or is this just like, hey, man, we just got to win ball games. We can't worry about getting people work. So we're going with the best 9 that we've got, and we're not going to worry about somebody that's at the end of the bench.
I think you got to figure out right now who, with some question marks that you have, whether it be in the starting rotation or in the bullpen. Mm-hmm. I think you've got to figure out who are the guys that you can trust in the bullpen or even in the starting rotation right now. And so I think there's a little bit of, you got to get guys work to get them, to be, to not be rusty, but at the same time, I think Coach Tadlock and Coach Gardner trying to figure out, okay, who are the guys that we can trust right now? And so some of these guys that are going to get out on the mound today are being given an opportunity to basically show what they can do. And so, I mean, if they perform well, they might earn themselves more playing time at in a bigger situation, whether on the weekend or against a Big 12 team. So these opportunities for these guys matter in that regard, and that it could lead to something bigger.
What's your expectation from a starting pitching today? I mean, what can Mohan provide for you? Do you think this is an inning or two or three, or is it's like, okay, this is your game, young man. If you're pitching well after three, we're going to keep you in the fourth.
I think they'll let him go as long as he's pitching well. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Mohan, not Mohan. Mohan.
Mohan. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mohan. Connor.
Yeah, I think they'll let him go as long as he's pitching well.
Okay. And then from a position standpoint, do you feel like things are pretty well set, or do you feel like that they'll play around with that a little bit today?
Well, I mean, things are definitely not set because you don't have TJ Pompey in there right now, right? And you would love to have him back. His bat would be a big boost for the lineup, and so it feels like right now you're not getting a ton offensively from the third base position. So when TJ comes back, I wonder if they would put him back at third base ultimately. I think you saw good at-bats and some good progress, or good work, I should say, from Antonelli Salvatore this weekend. So I expect to continue to see until Pompey's back at least, Salvatore in the lineup more against right-handed pitchers, and Coleman Ryan out with Lopez moving from second base to short and Salvatore playing second base. And maybe against the left-handers, you see Coleman Ryan in there more and Salvatore out. So I still think they're tinkering with that there. And then once Pompey comes back, which shouldn't be too much longer, but it should be. I don't think he'll be back this weekend either. Then you start figuring things out again. And
he's dealing with a back injury, correct?
TJ Pompey?
Yeah.
No, he got hit with a pitch on his wrist.
On his wrist, okay.
And he's all taped up in his wrist, and that happened at Kansas State.
Okay, so that's
backbone's connected to the wrist bone, all that good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. For some reason, I had him with a back injury, so my apology on that. And you don't really have a projection for Mr. Pompey and when he's going to get back in.
I think Coach Tadlock said he thought he'd be out about 10 days or so. So, and that started where? I mean, did that start? So, the Kansas State series. So you've been through one weekend. Again, I would expect him
sometime next week.
Yeah, maybe next week.
Yeah.
You don't have a midweek next week. You play Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Tempe against Arizona State. So maybe for that Arizona State series, or maybe he's healthy enough to come back for. I think he's fine fielding the ball. I just don't think he can swing a bat right now.
Yeah. This is helpful. And I don't mean to be naive always from a baseball standpoint. Sometimes it's hard juggling everything. And this person is using good grammar, yeah, and commas and stuff like that. I was looking for the word. It just didn't get with me. Chuck, I know you are a basketball guy and you are switching focus now. Welcome. Okay, well, thank you. Red Raider Baseball is in win yesterday mode. We can't wait for guys to figure it out. Every loss now is killer. They need wins bad. No, I understand that. Trust me, I do. I understand that.
But unfortunately, you are in a situation in these midweek games saying to yourself, we got to figure out who we can rely on the weekend. Okay, and so some of the guys that you may see in the midweek are. It's a job interview, so to speak, and so because some of the guys that you relied on heavily on the weekend have not been as as good as you would want them to be. Definitely not as consistent. And so, I mean, you keep running your head into the wall, or you can give somebody else a shot.
Yeah, I mean, if you keep doing things the same way, then you're going to get the same result, unfortunately. And sometimes that's how that works. All right, so we'll have Red Raider Baseball on the air for you today at 2:30. Who else is in line to pitch today, Jamie? What'd you think?
Yeah, probably some of the same guys that you saw last week. I mean, as far as I would guess, Will Jordan is a guy that they definitely want to get in there. Probably not Crotchfeld after he pitched as long as he did on Sunday afternoon, but Trendon Parrish is a guy that you're wanting to see, have some success and get right, so to speak. So I would be surprised if we don't see Trendon out there today. I mean, there's a bunch of different names, really.
We'll have the broadcast today at 2:30. First pitch just after 3 o'clock. Jamie and Jeff will have that for us today from New Mexico, as the Red Raiders then over the weekend will play host to Baylor. It's Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. All three games here on Double T 97.3. And then after the Red Raiders play today, we'll have the Rangers from Chicago trying to bounce back from a loss last night, 7-0.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, gentlemen, this is like 2 days in a row, Chuck, where you said we're going to do something at 8 o'clock, and I wanted to do it right then. So I apologize for messing with your plans.
That's okay. It's all right.
So we're going to talk Red Raider football here. And, of course, as you guys know, we have two new coordinators, your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator. So you're going to see, you would assume, a bit of a different style of both offense and defense, or maybe similar styles, but they do different things within that offense or defensive scheme. So I'm going to ask you guys today, you have to give me two answers, okay? And one of them is, what would you like to see Tech do more of this year? Okay, and it can be on offense or defense. And what would you like to see the Red Raiders do less of this year than they have done with previous offense or defensive coordinators? Both of them can be offense. Both of them can be defense. It can be split, whatever you want. Jeff, you cannot answer. I would like to see them block better more. That can't be the answer.
That's fair.
Okay.
Although I would, but that is fair.
I would also like to see that more. So, what are the one thing that you'd like to see Tech do more of, and one thing that you'd like to see them do less of?
All right, so just to give these guys names, your new offensive coordinator is Mac Leftwich. He is the offensive coordinator in charge of quarterbacks, and Sheil Wood is the defensive coordinator for the Red Raiders. Okay. What would I like to see? I'd like to be more vertical with the passing game. I'd like to see it thrown down the field more. I'd like to see you do more than just the sidelines and things like that. I wouldn't mind seeing you go over the middle. Basically, I want you to pass the ball more. I think that you've got to run the ball. I understand that, but I do feel like that there's some opportunities to get the ball in the hands of the receivers more. Now, that's kind of being a little bit hypocritical when I'm concerned about the quarterback and concerned about his ability to throw when I'm asking you to throw the ball more. And I understand that, but I feel like in order to be successful, you've got to put some pressure on the defense, in addition to just running the ball. So defensively, I want to see this defensive line that they are touting be what they're touting. So I want more pressure on the quarterback from the get-go defensively that keeps teams from getting explosive plays on you and converting first downs and eluding tacklers and all that kind of stuff. So I want to see Sheil Wood's team put more pressure on the quarterback.
So do you want to see them do it just with a 3 or a 4-man front, or are you asking for more blitzing?
Well, I mean, if this vaunted defensive line is supposed to be able to do its job, then I don't necessarily feel like you should have to blitz as much, because you've got these guys up front that you've paid handsomely, and you're bringing in this all-world guy from Stanford. So I feel like the guys up front should be able to. I mean, you're going to have to blitz some. I get that, but I feel like just from the standpoint that, I guess more than anything, just put pressure on the quarterback. Does that answer your question?
Okay.
Kind of.
Well, I agree with your point, is that if the guys that you've brought in, you feel like you should be able to get after the quarterback and put more pressure on them without blitzing.
Yeah.
So, I think you want a coordinator that mixes it up.
Sure.
And does it every once in a while, but
Sure.
you don't want to be doing it every single third down.
Yeah, I don't want to rely on the linebackers to be able to.
Yeah, if those guys aren't getting after the quarterback just with the 3 or 4 you're putting on the defensive front, then they're probably not as good as we thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
What I would like to see the Red Raiders do is have more substantial bread and butter plays on offense. I need 5 yards, I can run these 3 plays, and I can get my 5 yards. Each team will have a different play group of what those are, but the plays that you don't even have to think about running, that you are that successful at, that's what I want to see on offense. What I would like to not see anymore is 7 and 8 yard cushions on wide receivers for defensive backs. Get up on those guys. I am tired of getting burned because you're waiting for them to get to you before you move, and then being able to immediately turn around and catch a 5 yard pass and move the chains down. So that's what I would like to see and not see.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. I have a hard time choosing between my 2 on offense. I'm just going to say I'd like to see the tight ends used more in the passing game. I felt like we had talented tight ends the last couple of seasons, and whether that was because our wide receivers were talented, or because we were running the ball a lot with our superstar running back, or it was because we needed to keep our tight ends in to help with pass protection. I just felt like we didn't get all we could have out of those guys. And so I would like to see the tight end position used more in the running game. And on the flip side, for me, the one thing that I'd like to see less of, I'd like to see less having to blitz, less blitzing. Because I don't want to see your defensive backs be put on an island. I don't want them to be. I get it. You're going to mix it up. You're going to do it sometimes, but I just don't want to put that much pressure on your defensive backfield. I'd like to see you be able to get after the quarterback without blitzing a bunch, and so you're not putting your defensive backfield at risk with losing guys out of that defensive backfield because they're going after the quarterback. So linebackers, that to me is, I technically, I guess that's somewhat blitzing too, but that's kind of part of the deal. But you just don't want it too much from guys on the outside where you're taking too many big risks, in my opinion. And another one I would like to add that I feel like we have a running back group that is really athletic and quick and all that. I'd love to see them used more in the passing game, catching the ball out of the backfield too, with maybe some screens. I just feel like that was an area that we haven't used much in recent years either.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
3 on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3. You will hear the end of the bench an hour from now on 100.7 The Score, or your choice. You can go to Dan Patrick and stay with us here on Double T 97.3. The Herd with Colin Cowherd at high noon, Bottom Line at high noon on 100.7 The Score. Jamie's question of the day was what would you like to see out of your offense and defense this coming season? couple things here from the Yates Flooring Center chat line as we come to you from the First United Bank.
What would you like to see differently?
Differently.
Done differently.
Yeah. As we come to you from the First United Bank studio, we get this reaction, Jamie. I want to see better blocking by the offensive line as this leads the ability to go vertical and get those 5-yarders. I want to see fewer completions by the opponent. Okay? On the defensive side.
So, yeah, in case you didn't hear at the beginning, I told us all that we couldn't say blocked. We want to see them block better.
Yeah, you told Jeff that, right?
Yeah,
right.
Because we all know that the offensive line is super important, and the improvement in that area would be a big step forward.
Yeah,
and so we're all kind of there on that one. And the less completions, that probably speaks to a little bit of a lot of different things that we talked about. If you're able to get pressure on the quarterback more, whether you're blitzing or you're doing it with your defensive line. That's part of it, and then the other part of it is, Jeff talking about the cushion that you were given on the outside with your defensive backs. If you played cut down on the cushion, there's possibility that you're going to give up less completions. Also, possibility that you're going to get beat deep more, but hopefully that wouldn't be the case.
I mean, they were still getting beat deep a bunch, so.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with let's stop these 5 yards and 6 yards until they can prove they can beat me. And then maybe I'll back up to a 7 and 8 yard cushion so they can beat me on the 5. But I feel like we were getting beaten anyway.
There's a time and place for all of it, right?
Sure.
On third and 3, you're not given a 7 yard cushion. Okay. But on, 3rd and 17, you are, different deal.
My first thought when I saw they want to see fewer completions by the opponent, I was thinking of interceptions, but that really wasn't a big problem last year. So I don't really call it.
Definitely was not.
Don't recall interceptions as something that you really had to worry about. I think that's been that case really over the last couple of years, that you really haven't been beaten per se by the interception. This person agrees with you, Jamie. Use the tight end more in the passing game. Also, fewer field goals and more touchdowns. And someone else had written that in too. Is don't want to see settling for field goals at the end of drives. That's a good point too.
Didn't feel like we were great in the red zone last year.
Yeah.
That to me is about the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get in the red zone, right, you want to pound it in. You got a great running back, big physical running back. You want to pound it in, but of course the defense knows you want to run the football with Taj Brooks. And in those situations, we weren't able to, be good in the run game.
I did not hear this report, and maybe you guys did, and I just missed it. Chuck, did you hear Coach Joey McGuire's report that Baron Morton is back to where he was at the end of the year in power and mobility? I did not. He will start throwing to receivers likely next week. That's good news. That's really good news. I hope that's accurate. The sooner that he can get to working with his receivers, the better off he is, and the team is, and the receivers are, and ultimately we as fans are too, because of those repetitions and the timing and everything that goes with all that. So
that would be huge if he had that much time between April and the start of the season to kind of get back from where he was.
Yeah. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. The DBs had to give a bigger cushion because the defensive line could not get enough pressure to make the ball come out quick. The less time the quarterback has closer to the line, the defensive backs can play. Okay. Did Jamie just go Yoda on us? Did you go Yoda on us, Jamie?
Did I mix up my words?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Or did my ears get pointy and green? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty short.
Yeah.
So I'm not. What is he, Jeff? 300 years old or something? Was Yoda?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's older.
I'm not
than
that old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We must have a new grandson or granddaughter from Dan in Dallas. Guys, we have a new listener today. His first full day of listening to the morning drive. Will this be considered one of his brags in life? Yes. Dan in Dallas in Orlando. Okay.
Congratulations, Dan. That's awesome.
Yes. So hope everybody's doing well. Sounds like it. I mean, if he's listening to us, we're going to fill him full of knowledge, and and
some of it will be accurate.
He'll be better off for it.
I was just about to say, some of it might actually be right.
It might be. Again,
I wouldn't bet the house on it, but
not always accurate, not always fair. Just try. Keyword: try to be entertaining. Right. Keyword there.
We should try to be accurate too.
I do. I mean, it's not my goal to be inaccurate. I mean, sometimes I just, get the facts. I'd let the facts get in the way of a good story sometimes, and sometimes I don't let the facts get in the way of a good story. But I try to be more accurate than not, Jamie.
Okay.
I really do. That is the goal every single day, is to be completely accurate with everything that we provide on this fine radio program, at least in our humble opinion, or at least one of us humble's opinion. Let's see. The entrapment with regard to New Mexico is more so because of the speed limits making you drive 60 or risk getting a ticket, not so much that you can't leave. Right? Okay. Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, their roads are interesting, no doubt, and the speed limit as well.
Yeah, it's up, down, and all around. Hacks is the wheelman for you guys, right? When you guys drive?
Depends on the trip.
Okay. Depends on the trip.
Depends on the trip. Last one was me. This one is him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then he'll be responsible for following the law and maybe holding on to the steering wheel so that it doesn't get too out of control.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.